Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for, this is going to be for Saturn in Aries, which is Saturn is moving into Aries today. It will be there until April 12th of 2028. Your first row is going to represent what is Saturn testing you during this time. You have this taking risk card and this action card. Of course, Pisces. It's all about action, right? And all about taking action. For most of you, Saturn is moving into your second house. Even if you're not a second house, Aries, Pisces, doesn't matter. Still going to affect you pretty much the same. And so taking action, following through on ideas is probably one of the things that's being tested. Again, you have kind of have had the perfect storm for a while now of astrology that is setting you up for this. You had Neptune in Pisces for a very long time. Neptune's now in Aries. And that Neptune in Pisces probably gave you a lot of ideas that you had to kind of like process. It's more like you have been, crunching the numbers and really doing a lot of analysis. And, the other thing is North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo still. You've been doing a lot of this kind of like processing of information, and now it's time to take action and take risks on that information. Again, your first row, sorry, I'm not going to remember this list. Your first row is going to be what is Saturn going to be testing during this period of time, because Saturn tests us. You have the Six of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Emperor. So the first thing that popped into my head with this Six of Pentacles is testing. I feel like Saturn is going to be testing your ability to test things, as in, the Six of Pentacles, he takes small steps towards things that he's trying to accomplish or things that he wants to achieve. And he might test multiple things at a time. So it's like the things that you're working on, especially with your finances, because again, Saturn in your second is definitely going to affect your finances. Again, I've been saying it's time for you to make money, and I can see at the end you have this great fortune card. It's like, if there's ever a time in history, I've been telling you for the last 2 years, it's time for Pisces to get right with money. It's time for Pisces to make money as well. And, I think that the Six of Pentacles is saying, anything you're building to improve your finances, you might have to try 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 things to get an idea to work. But I think this is more about iteration. Again, I always talk about Uranus and Gemini. Uranus and Gemini is going to be all about iteration. You have to try one thing to lead to the next thing that leads to the next thing that leads to success, right? And so Six of Pentacles is about being willing to test things out over time. And I think that is like the perfect thing that you could be doing. The other thing is like what you give, right? So Saturn in the second, we consider the first 3 houses to be personal. So it's like the second house can be your earned income, valuables, nice things that you own, stuff like that. But it is also personal, and a lot of it has to do with how you value yourself in the second house. So I think I can already see a lot of stuff here. You have this gratitude card coming up in your third row as well. I think first and foremost, one of the first things Pisces should do is focus on how they treat themselves and how they value themselves. The more you value yourself, the more of that energy you project out into the world, the better. Next, you have the Queen of Pentacles, which is all about resourcefulness. Saturn in the second, I don't think it's bad for money at all, by the way, Pisces. I mean, like I said, I think you have the opportunity to make more than ever. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's definitely going to be work. You're going to have to test things and experiment. But I do feel that you have, I think you've already learned resourcefulness. I mean, there's so many things that you've been through over the past several years. Even years ago, you had Uranus in your second. Uranus in Aries in the second is the freaking worst. So if you think back to like 2012, somewhere around there, was Uranus and Aries. In Uranus and Aries in particular, in the second, I've said to you before, you can make money and then it gets taken away from you. Then you can make more money and it feels like it gets taken away from you. So you've had to learn resourcefulness. We also had Neptune and Pisces. Neptune and Pisces dissolves the material, and so it's like certain material things are not as important to you as they were over the last many years with Neptune and Pisces. So again, I'm not worried about this at all. I think you have learned resourcefulness. I also think that you've learned the importance of multiplication. The Queen of Pentacles, she multiplies what is working. Six of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune. These are all cards of multiplying success. So you have to think about what is working and then double down on it. I think that also this year, with Uranus going to Gemini, which I'll do another reading on Uranus and Gemini in the future when we get closer to April. But what I would say to you is that it's your fourth house. The fourth house is your home, family, things like that, but it is also what stabilizes the chart, right? And so something that is going to stabilize your chart is collecting data. We have to, I think one thing that Pisces should do, I said this in your last weekly reading, I think something very similar, is I think we should have like a note, taking app, a journal, something, right? So if you're working on something important, Saturn's all about discipline. So if you have the discipline to pay attention to what is working and to track it, then you can double down on what is working. And I would come up with something, like some sort of routine. You have the Emperor. The Emperor is Aries. The Emperor is like taking control of opportunity. I think the whole taking risk thing, I think over the past many years, Pisces, you've had opportunities that come in front of you, and then maybe you get nervous or you don't take those opportunities, or it's like you don't explore your full potential. And so what's popping into my head with this Emperor is about like when an opportunity comes, take the risk and make a small investment with the Six of Pentacles. You don't have to, give something 1,000,000 hours a week. You can just try something a little bit. And if it works a little bit, then great, double down on it and do more, right? So I think the Emperor is saying that it would be better for you to take any opportunity that comes your way, and you can always leave. You can always quit. You can always walk away from the opportunity if it doesn't, go how you want it to. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Page of Swords. Yes, again, looking into things, being a detective, understanding why things work and why things create value or bring more value into your business or you personally, right? This is everything in your life, everything that has value. Second house. So I would look at anything that you value and say, like, how can I get more out of this? How can I increase what I'm earning? How can I make more money? How can I do this? How can I do that? With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Empress, all about personal value, valuing yourself. Again, she is the card of nurturing, self-care. I knew before I started your reading, Pisces, that we would see a lot of this energy, so just doesn't even surprise me that you are increasing your value, making more money, doing things to make more money, doing things to be more abundant, and that's, exactly what I would do with the Empress. With the Emperor, you have the Tower, which you have twice in this reading. You have the Emperor and the Empress, which, again, is like a good time for love for you with these two cards. So, I don't think this has to do with Saturn and Aries, but I will say, could be love coming in for you just in general. The other thing with the Tower, at the end, the last row is going to represent the reward that's coming in for you if you do the work with Saturn and Aries. And so we'll talk about that. So that's going to be a good thing with the Tower at the end. But the Tower here could be about letting go of things that aren't worth it. Again, value, right? We have to be honest sometimes with the Tower. And it's not like we're creating a Tower moment. We are just accepting reality, which is the whole point of the Tower, is to accept reality. So if there are things that you work on and do that don't produce a result or don't, that don't lead to, some sort of success, then those are the things that need to be removed. Or if there are things that don't bring you value into your life, those are the things that need to be removed. Next, we're going to look at where are you acting too fast with this Saturn and Aries, because Saturn and Aries can be like restlessness, ego, anger, things like that. You have this connect to the eternity within. It says, let yourself be held by love. Yeah, it's like more of that nurturing energy. And it says, be still. Cultivate a space of stillness and silence to just be, which I also think is going to be important for you, that you don't become a robot over the next few years. Again, we have until April 12th of 2028 with this energy. And so don't just become some robot that's just like acting all the time and is, just working all the time, right? Which makes a lot of sense. Saturn is the taskmaster. One thing I will say, Pisces, is again, it's going to feel good to work for you. You're going to feel good if you are working on the right things. And I always say, to me, Pisces is like the little engine that could. It's like I think every Pisces I know, it's like when they find something that works, they're like a dog with a bone. It's like that's all they want to do. And there's nothing really wrong with that unless you burn out. So I kind of feel this is saying, like, don't burn out at this time. In this row, you have the Seven of Swords, the Ten of Cups, and the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, Seven of Swords is like saying, if you are doing things, you're not meant to be understood, as I say to you as well, Pisces. And I think the Seven of Swords is, the trap that we can get in here is we do things the way other people do them. Most people would just go to war with this army in the background, but he is sneaking away with the swords. So I feel this is saying it's your unique approach is what is going to make you successful right now. And so I think that, if you're coming up with ideas of, things to work on or, what to do in your relationships, all areas of life, you should be making sure to like pause. You have that card that says be still. It's almost like, let me back up and just say this. It's almost like Pisces needs to sit on an egg. It's like you're a bird. You are going to get ideas. They're going to be good ideas. But I think taking a moment to pause and think about the idea and think about, how can I really extract the best from this thing that I'm working on? Eight of Pentacles here in this reading. Just having that like moment where you think about how would I approach this? Again, all value is going to come from you. That's the only secret you need to understand with Saturn and Aries. Doing things because you value it, not everybody else, that's what's going to lead to success. The second you start doing everything like everybody else is doing it, that's going to be the failure. So again, I think that as long as you operate from that mindset, things will go very well. The other thing is he has these polka dots on his cloak. If what you're doing isn't fun, you're going to struggle, right? Polka dots in the tarot represent taking things too seriously. Saturn is very serious energy in general. So, I think this isn't really a warning. It's just something I would pay attention to. If something becomes serious, you're going to create a lot of resistance. I think if something stays playful, then good things will happen, right? You have the Ten of Cups, another card of like creating a good environment for yourself. And so, it's kind of like saying, we're asking here, where could you be acting too quickly or where could you be forcing things to happen in this row? And so the Ten of Cups, again, it wants you to put fun first or wants you to put your own fulfillment first and wants you to create that positive environment around yourself first, and then good things can happen. The other thing is again, taking action on your dreams. Because we've had Neptune and Pisces for so long, I think you need to bring more of those dreams down to earth so that you can find more fulfillment, right? You have the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is straightforward, kind of like diligent work in some ways, kind of like the Eight of Pentacles. Normally, I don't really like the Knight of Pentacles because he is moving too slow. He is not making progress. He's just standing there. He's the only knight in the tarot that isn't making a move. I feel like some of you need to like plant that first seed to get something to grow in your life. And, I would start kind of like taking that action to make that happen. That's what I would do with the Knight of Pentacles is start making moves. The Knight of Pentacles can be progress though. And I do feel with the Eight of Pentacles, you are going to be making progress here. With the Seven of Swords, you have the Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups can be your emotions overflowing. Again, as long as what you're doing is causing an overflow, good things will happen. If you do something and it gives you energy, then great, keep doing it. If you're doing something and it's burning you out, then I would stop. And again, this goes for everything in your life. This is going to be very general for you because, like I said, second house, it's going to be all about your value, the value you get out of things that you are working on. And, that's really what I'd pay attention to. With the Ten of Cups, you have the Two of Swords. Yeah, I think in those moments where you get stuck in, over the next few years here, it's going to be when you are not listening to your intuition as well. Again, we have Neptune in Aries at the same time. So, Neptune and Aries is those split-second gut instinct feelings. And you have the Emperor. He's ready to go at a moment's notice. The second an opportunity comes into his vision, he grabs onto it. And he'll work on it a little bit, make a small investment with that Six of Pentacles. If it works, great, he keeps going. If it doesn't work, great, he moves on to the next one, right? And so I think this is encouraging you to avoid getting stuck on things, which could be a little bit hard, not like hard, but just, something that comes up because I think you're going to have a billion ideas over the next many years. And so I think you might have, I kind of feel this is saying, be careful of romanticizing your ideas with that Ten of Cups because, Ten of Cups is good, but those cups exist above their heads. They're kind of like looking at a vision. It's not on Earth yet, right? And we have the Earth, the world, right here. So make sure that you're taking the steps necessary to bring those dreams down to earth. With the Knight of Pentacles, damn, you have the Star, which is great. Star after the Tower is definitely good because it cancels out the Tower. The Star is about having a focused vision, having one idea, one guiding light. The Star is your North Star. It is that guiding light, that thing that motivates you to find success. And so I think a lot of you need to, move towards your Star, that guiding light in your life, and that will lead to the most success for you. The other thing that just popped into my head when I put that down is that I think you need to focus on your knowledge as well. We have this bird here. This bird is the bird of knowledge and wisdom. It's the ibis, and it represents having knowledge to share. And so I think you need to share more as well. Next, we're going to focus on what you should be building long term. Now, this is critically important with Saturn and Aries, that we build something that could support us for a long time. And we have also been dealing with Uranus and Taurus, which is the same thing. Uranus and Taurus wants us to build something long term. You have this freedom card and this gratitude card. So more freedom. Again, I think I've said this to you recently, that you should not be working on things that suck up 1,000,000 hours a week. You should be focusing on having more time for yourself, having more self-care time, more nurturing time with Saturn in the second. Again, the more you value yourself, the better. And it will be a reflection in the world. So if you do value yourself, if you are taking care of yourself and not burning yourself out, then that's what you're going to get back very, very quickly with Saturn in your second. Freedom, definitely. Again, I think Pisces has been on the grind, even just mentally, things that you've been processing mentally, things you've been dealing with. And so I think you're kind of getting off the grind here a little bit. And, that's what you should be focused on. Again, I think you need to not be thinking complex, you shouldn't be thinking, how can I build a complex system that takes a super long amount of time in my life, right? You should be keeping it simple. Expressing gratitude, everybody in 2026 had messages of gratitude, so obviously it's a good thing. You have the World, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords. Again, we're asking what you should be building long term here, and so whatever you want to see in the world. I think you have the opportunity to literally create your own world. That's what she is doing. She has this wand here and here. One is like the magician's wand. She creates with energy and manifestation. The other is like an action wand. She takes action to create things, or she takes action on what she's working on. And so both energies, Queen of Pentacles is very practical. The Empress, she's maybe a little bit more intuitive. She even has like this planchette right here, which is like what we use on a Ouija board, right? So she might be a little bit more manifestation oriented. And I think mixing the two worlds together, Uranus and Gemini, mixing two things together. You are a Pisces, two fish, the logical and the spiritual, or whatever you want to call it, right? It's like you are... Pisces, it's like you are bringing, heaven down to earth is what you need to create here. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's going to be work, but I think you can do it. You have the Eight of Pentacles here. So again, straightforward system, right? He is working on one thing, just these 8 pentacles. He has one more to complete. He's almost done. And so he's not working on 900 things at once. He's just following one system to create success. And, again, I think this is probably, one of the most powerful things Pisces could be doing at this time is picking a system. And that doesn't mean you can't do a bunch of things, right? It's like I could use the system I use for this channel and I could create 10 other channels if I wanted to, although I shouldn't. Maybe I should pick like 2 or 3, right, that don't take a lot of time so I don't burn myself out. And if I did that, things would go well. But as long as you have a structure with Saturn, which could be a system, right? Like maybe you come up with a system to write scripts for YouTube or something like that. If you do that, good things will happen with the Eight of Pentacles. But Eight of Pentacles is material success on the horizon, so you are definitely building future wealth here. You have the Eight of Swords, so again, freedom. Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction, but we are asking, what do you need to build long term? And so I think that, there are a couple things that are popping into my head. I feel that Pisces is going to be, it's like you're becoming more dynamic. You're becoming more multifaceted. It's like you're becoming a Swiss Army knife in life. I love that analogy where it's like you have more tools. And I think that would be a good thing for you to work on, where it's like you're becoming more multifaceted, which again is very Uranus and Gemini for sure. Eight of Swords is only seeing one way of doing things when there are many. So with the Eight of Swords, we have to be open to all solutions. With the World, you have the Nine of Swords. Yeah, to use a cliche, Pisces, to be the change you want to see in the world, right? The Nine of Swords is everything is the same. Nine of Swords is a never-ending nightmare, and so this person's had a nightmare. They've woken up. They're stuck in a nightmare. And again, I think that Pisces is here to change the world. So what changes do you want to see, and how can you create those changes around you? With the Eight of Pentacles, you have the Nine of Pentacles. Damn. Pisces, this is a good reading for sure. And Nine of Pentacles is heaven on earth. She doesn't necessarily have heaven on earth, but she is trying to create heaven on earth for herself. She's also perfectly independent. On top of that, with the Six of Pentacles, she has learned how to give in balance. She has 3 pentacles here, 6 over here. She's willing to give 3 pentacles to any situation in her life, but she always keeps more than enough energy for herself over here. So she's never over giving. She's never giving too much to anything that she's working on or creating or doing, right? And so that's what I feel for you. As long as you're giving in balance, things will go well. And, that's basically what I would do with the Nine of Pentacles, is I would make sure that you're giving in balance. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, needing to get started, right? Eight of Swords, she's stuck, but Knight of Pentacles twice in a reading. He needs to make a move. He needs to get started. He needs to, start planting seeds. I think you already have the idea, the vision, the dream in your head right now, Pisces. You just need to take the first step. Next, we're going to look at your reward if you handle this energy correctly. You have this Sweetheart card. It says, in love, sweetness, mutual feelings, devoted good intentions, innocence, love is in the air, love and affection. Again, second house doesn't necessarily have to do with love, but I can see how it's a side effect, right? If you value yourself, then you're going to attract a person who values you and also probably values themselves. And this is a good love reading. Again, the intention for these readings is not love, but, it is showing up. You have this great fortune card. It says, good luck, triumph, happiness, ease, reward for your efforts, fulfillment, dreams come true, positive outcome. Damn. Love it, Pisces. So definitely a good time for you and could be a time of great fortunes. You have the Tower, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Page of Wands. So a completely new reality, completely reinventing yourself if you work with this energy and valuing yourself more. Again, I think you literally could change the world with your ideas, with the things that you're doing. And it's the perfect time to do that. We also have Pluto and Aquarius, which Pluto and Aquarius wants us to do anything that benefits the collective. And, again, if there was ever a time in history where we little people could be the ones that change the world, it would be right now. You have the Wheel of Fortune, so more fortune. We have that great fortune card, so definitely a change in your fortunes, which, is good. This last row is meant to represent a reward, the good stuff. So a lot of you could be building a lot of momentum. Six of Pentacles definitely wants you to build momentum as well. You have several things here, really. Empress, she does what is easy. She just has to wave that scepter in front of her, and the abundance in front of her grows. So it's that's how you should be thinking about things. What can I do that creates abundance easily? And again, I'm not saying it's going to be easy to get there, but I definitely feel you have the skills necessary to be able to build that level of abundance or creation. You have the Page of Wands. Yeah, we saw a lot of energy in this reading that was talking about making your life more fun. And even the things that you work on and create need to be more fun. So I think being less serious, bringing more joy into your life, all that would be very good for you, Pisces. With the Tower, you have the Nine of Cups. It's wish fulfillment coming in for you. This could be a little bit of a surprise. You might not be expecting this with that Tower energy. The Tower can be a sudden change or a sudden surprise. So definitely like to see that. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the King of Cups, which is great. It's you showing up in this reading. And sorry, I'm knocking cards all over the place. So this here could be you showing up in a strong position. It would also be you being more emotionally stable. It's you're becoming the king. With the Page of Wands, you have the Devil, which is Saturn in Capricorn technically, but most people read this as Saturn or Capricorn, and this could be Saturn's control, right? So like I said, I think having more fun, being more playful, setting yourself free from things that are kind of draining you of energy is going to be the part of your reward, like being able to do things that don't suck you dry. And that is like a lesson you've been learning already, but you're going to continue learning it. So let's see. We're going to pull 5 themes from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun for Saturn and Aries. You have this exaltation card. It's like you're divinely blessed, or you are blessed at this time. You're receiving blessings. Let's see. You have this escape card. I wouldn't look at this as an escape, but 2 of Swords, 8 of Swords, Devil, getting out of situations that drain you, making that a focus would be great. You have this affair card, clearly love. Again, it is an excellent time for love for Pisces, so it doesn't really surprise me that we see love cards here. I think value is important. I think focusing on people who bring value into your life. Pisces is too much of a giver, so I think Pisces typically looks for people that need saving or need help or whatever. I think it's time for you to have the opposite, like a person who helps you. And so, again, definitely could be a solid connection. But again, value is the only thing that you should focus on, especially in love. I wouldn't even focus on love, because what I would do is focus on valuing yourself the most, doing things that prove to the universe that you value yourself. Love will be a natural side effect of that. It's like you don't even need to think about it, because if you do all those things, you will have everything you want. You have this influence card. It is an excellent time for you to gain influence. I think Saturn in the second, like I said, creating value, sharing value, valuing yourself more will influence other people. It's like you're going to be an inspiration to other people with the work that you do. Finally, here we have this versatility card. I literally said it in this reading that you're becoming like a Swiss Army knife, right? Where it's like you're not a one-trick pony here, Pisces. I think you are going to be using your skills for many things. Uranus and Gemini can also be about complementary skills, where it's like everything you're doing is working together in your own little ecosystem of you, right? And if you create that ecosystem and you nurture it, right, your skills that can benefit other things in your life, you're going to become dangerous in a good way here, Pisces. But I love this for you, Pisces. I think Saturn and Aries, even before I did these readings, I thought that Saturn and Aries would be pretty good for you. It's going to be work. Saturn is the taskmaster, but, I think if you do, but not hard work. The reading is saying do efficient work, do easy work, right? So love it. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and definitely enjoy your month.